Here I'm going to show you all the remix version of Smash 2.1 and why I would recommend this version of Smash Remix as a bunch of new features in it like King of the Hill, Smash Basketball, and Tug of War. Now let's go over the Tug of War since it's probably the most challenging of all the three versions here. Pick your stage and then get your own version of which character you want to select. As you can see here, if you get all one kill of the player that you're planning to choose to target, you get an extra life point, as you can see here. It's like suicide bait. As you in the left, you see a blue curry have 1 stock left compared to 4. If you manage to stay alive for this long, you eventually get up to 10 points for this long or more. However, if you ran out, you will get kicked out of the game and then leave. Now I'm going to show you Smash 2 Ball, which is basically the same version was offered in Smash Flash 2 with the sandbag, soccer, and basketball court. However, you play in a soccer or basketball field and not just a generic room area with nothing to offer. This is already previous stages, and what I'm going to show you select on the stages and how many stages there are. King of the Hill planning board. You have a health bar over here with the amount of points you will get in order to stay here on the platform board. You get an obvious red flag once you see another person aboard the platform. Make sure you stand on the platform as much as you could without getting other teammates or players to your advantage in order to get first place on the board. And as you can see here, there's plenty of new characters here from previous titles and from other games, which a lot of people demand to be on the mainline game. Much like Smash Flash 2, there's a bunch of obscure and unique characters here that a bunch of people recommend for requests for. Well, here I'll show you what their playstyle will be if they ever get into a mainline Smash title. As you can see, there's Peppy and Slippy. Because now there's script characters like Mad Piano and the original Dragon King fighter for the prototype of Smash 64. Click here. Stages are much more various now, as there's new unique ones including previous old titles like Pokeflow, as long as other stages from other Nintendo 64 games like Big Snow Blower, Discovering Fall, Boo Haunted House, Gutter Tower, Railroad, and much more. Pick Rainbow Road from Smash 64, and then once you see the moveset, you notice how unique and also fast-paced and powerful they are. With Dragon King with his Dragon Ball, Crash with his twins, and combo set. Much more variety in here with other previous Smash versions of Smash 64 Remix. Now with versus matches, the P1 game that I'm showing you right now still has the regular version of versus matches even if you select different characters. I tried to see if there were versions of the game where they select different ones, but they all have their own unique version of classic mode. But as you can probably see here what I'm showing you on screen, that's not the case. It's still the regular 1P1 classic mode. You have to go through all the way back to Smash 64. However, if you go to Target Test or the platform or the new version of Smash mode bonus 3, you get to see much more of the variety of what they have to offer. So I select Conquer, and then if you go to Remix mode, just get to select all characters stage forward and use the border platform of which one you like the most right here, and then you get to play their own version of their own stages with the different characters without needing to use the same character for each stage. And this goes the same with border platform. Now we arrive at bonus objectives number 3, and as you select here, this is a remix of Race to Finish. Select any characters you want. Make sure that their stages are the correct versions of what you want to pick. And as you can see here, this is a completely new remix stage of the Race to Finish line. As a polygon team and much more lava of previous stages of Race to the Finish. I honestly want them to have their own unique Race to Finish line instead of just the same repetitive one, but I think they're gonna fix that, or at least I hope they will add more unique stages in Race to Finish. But if you go to remix mode, you get to see remix version of the 1v1 classic as I mentioned in here, but instead of here, you get to pick your own unique classic mode stage. Like here, what I'm using right now, you get to see how their variety are much more different than the regular normal 1v1 stage. And this goes the same as for the other characters here if you select different characters besides Conquer. So here I'm going to show you melee characters and then Smash 64 characters. They all have their own classic mode instead of the same old one. Go to Dr. Mario, to Fox, and then you get to see how the original Smash 64 roster has now their own unique 1v1 versus matches. And as you can see on the multi-man's page, the crew, multi-match man, all-star mode, and homework contest. These are all previous stages from all the other 4 titles except for Smash 64, so it's nice to see them get into here. And that's pretty much it for all the data. Record hold is still the same, including sound tests and galleries, except there's much more stages and the photos of each characters, including database of all the other characters except for the extra ones. And that's pretty much it for Smash Remix, and I get the hope to see if there's gonna be more patches soon before they eventually end all the fan game mode for Smash Remix. That's pretty much it for today. I hope you liked this video of my tour of Smash Remix and all what they have to offer. Thank you very much for watching.